Yeehaw to you.
Now, most importantly, how are you? Are you safe? How's the house? How's the neighbourhood?
Oh, you're very, very kind. It's a very strange, we'll talk about it a little bit more, but it's a very strange time to be here. People do keep saying, are you safe? Yes, I'm very grateful for that. But like, if everything around you is in the way that it is here, just sort of destroyed and topsy-turvy, and people are so stunned and kind of numb, and it's yeah.
Do you know, I've obviously, as you know, I've got lots of friends over there, and just reading their testimonials and stuff on social media, it makes you realise, and I think seeing it through the eyes of my friends has made it so much more pertinent, like yourself. It's just made it come to life, really, because we sort of just watch some of the news footage and it just washes over you. When you know people, when you know the locations, it's just makes it incredibly real.
Yeah, and just everybody knows, even if you go, well, are you safe? Yeah, but my friend's dad or, brother or, like everybody is impacted. There are still about 10,500 people in Los Angeles just without power. So even like small losses, like losing all the food and from your fridge and freezer is a nasty loss, incomparable with losing your entire home, of course. But people are living paycheck to paycheck. You can't afford to lose all the food in your fridge and freezer. You can't afford to have to get food in every night and not restock that and not really know when that's coming on. It's just this very sort of stunned limbo situation here at the moment. Those fires, they are still burning. I mean, obviously there's a lot more smoke and they've got more of a grip of them, and the winds, this is the really important thing, have been really calmed down, so they've been able to get all that air cover and kind of get to them, so that the threat to structures and homes. But when you think about it, these communities, big communities, they've not just lost buildings, it's homes, it's schools, it's places of worship, it's your supermarket, it's the entire heart of the community as well that's just disrupted. Like, where are these kids going to school? I was in Santa Barbara this week. There's an amazing non-profit charity they call Project Camp, and they do something as simple as set up a kids' day camp so that the kids who are displaced from their homes, some of them haven't even got homes to go back to, some of them are displaced, maybe staying with family, can just go, play, be with other kids, be out the way of the parents, so the parents can make these, phone call upon phone call to insurance companies and just kind of try and process it and do all the grown-up stuff as well. So just, people are just in limbo.
Yeah. Let's move on and talk about something else taking place on the other side of the country. Of course, the inauguration on Monday. I've been asking this morning, is it a day of celebration or a day of mourning for us in the UK? There's no doubt that Trump coming into power will have significant implications for the United Kingdom. Just talk us through this. It's really, it's quite a thing, isn't it? There's a lot of events that happen in the inauguration. Of course, he becomes formally the president on Monday. But also, my understanding is they've shifted it from being outside to being inside because of the weather. What does that mean for all those ticket holders who were going to, be part of it outside?
Means they'll be quite disappointed because they won't see the swearing in. That's all going to happen inside now, inside the rotunda. But honestly, the decision was made because it was dangerously cold. It's not even just sort of Trump being outside. It is those spectators and people who want to see this all go on and sit out there. You just can't have them. It's something like somewhere between -6 and -10 in your numbers. So you just can't have people sitting outside, and not just the guests, like the law enforcement and all these kind of people. So it was decided that it was too risky. That video's hilarious. It was decided that it was sort of too risky for him to do that. It's going to be quite interesting. I mean, that's only happened sort of once before, I think, when, in 40 years when Reagan was sworn in. It's a holiday here as well, actually, on Monday. It's Martin Luther King Day, so it's a public holiday. By coincidence, it doesn't always happen that way. Anyway, so musical guests,
Yes.
Carrie Underwood, big country music star.
Yes.
You know that song, I'm proud to be an American?
Yes.
That's Lee Greenwood, and that has become a bit of an anthem for Donald Trump. So Lee Greenwood is performing at there, and Wild, but the Village People
now
will be doing Macho Man. And
well,
the
this is hilarious because so Bruce Valanche, who is very well known, he used to write the Academy Awards. Bruce was my neighbour in LA. He's gone on. He's basically said the Village People aren't what they were. I don't think any of them are the originals.
I don't know, they put a statement out. I'm not, massively well versed in them, but they did put a statement out.
Oh, yes, you are.
Saying we want to be part of this, even though our preferred candidate didn't win. But I mean, it is kind of funny because it's such a gay anthem.
It's a massively gay anthem, like in the Navy and all the other ones that go with the Village People. And of course, YMCA. But Macho Man is something that's been adopted by Trump.
Isn't it? What a macho man.
Macho man. So Village People, obviously, but also, doesn't he have to run round? He's got something like, so it starts with the church service, then you've got the music, then the swearing in, and then he will then go and sign documents, there's a parade, and then he's got to go to 3 balls in the evening.
Oh, yeah, but he's not having to get the bus, is he? I mean, he'll be shepherding around with all of the things that are accommodated to him as the President of the United States. I think he'll be fine. You don't have to worry for him.
Well, I was worried for him.
I'll tell you, there is one interesting guest and one interesting absence. A lot is being made of Michelle Obama not attending. But the interesting attendee, you might be surprised by, Mike Pence, who, of course, he fell out with his former vice president. And he fell out with him 4 years ago when Mike Pence wouldn't overthrow that election in 2020. But Mike Pence will be there. Apparently, he feels that it is very important for the surviving presidents and vice presidents to be there. So he will be there, even though they are no longer, I think, on each other's Christmas card list.
Can I just show you a picture, actually? This has been brought to my attention by Tommy. This is a picture of the current US ambassador, Jane D. Hartley, only the second woman to hold this position, at her residence, Winfield House in Regent's Park, with 4 ex-Prime Ministers, Cameron, May, Sunak and Brown. She's leaving. She says, I've been so grateful to call these great leaders friends during my time in the UK. The transition begins as Warren Stevens takes over the position in Trump's government. Do we have that picture that I can show you? If not, I'll come back to it.
You want to draw it or something? It'd be really...
Well, it's just a really interesting photo. I'll come back. Yeah. I'll come back to that because obviously we're having some technical problems. Just in terms of that, so America very, very divided, as we know. What's the response to Trump's inauguration? I assume division.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. This week they've done all of the kind of swearing in, or rather the hearings for his kind of team. It looks like he will get those people through. Some of the more controversial ones dropped out, like the Matt Gaetz's early on. So I mean, there are some pretty controversial choices, like Pete Hegseth amongst that. So that's really what's been going on. And I think people are just watching and waiting, wondering, is he going to do the things he says he's going to do? Is it going to be chaos? It was, but previously it was quite a lot of chaos and internal fighting. Will that be different this time? Will he do the things, obviously, that he and Biden have both taken credit for what's happened in the Middle East? He also made promises about trying to settle things in Ukraine. I think people will just be looking and saying how much of this is things that he said to get elected because it's things people want, and how much of this are things that he can really deliver on.
Let me show you that picture now, if I can. This is the current US ambassador, Jane D. Hartley. This is because she's leaving. I mean, it's a quite impressive photo, this. She's got 4 ex-Prime Ministers here, Cameron, May, Sunak and Brown, cross-party there. What a job to be giving up. I mean, it must be marvellous to be the American ambassador to Britain.
Very nice, isn't it? Yeah.
Very
You
nice.
have to get to know a lot of different prime ministers because you kept having so many, I guess.
It was a revolving door of prime ministers, wasn't it? I mean, look, I've been asking this morning whether it's going to work in our favour having Trump in power. Look, at the end of the day, you and I have spoken about this. He's an Anglophile. He is British British. Well, not by birth, but anyway, his heritage is British. So. There's been an enormous pivotal kind of turn by the Labour government. They're now saying, well, we're not going to expedite the Chagos deals. It's up to Trump to have a look at that. And basically, they're changing their tune.
Yeah, I mean, they've got to play ball when it comes to Trump. He's got an awful lot of power. And he's quite easy to read, really, is that you have to sort of flatter him and tell him that, he's important. And then also he likes a bit of leverage in what he's doing. So, that's fine. If you want this, what can I get out of it?
Well, that's right.
So
and of course,
he's very much like, into that kind of leverage.
Well, he likes deals, doesn't
he? So, yeah, he that's how he's very transactional, I think, as a person.
Can I just ask you about this? Joe Biden is commuting the sentences. So this is the last thing he did. He's commuting the sentences of nearly 2,500 people convicted of non-violent drug offences 3 days before he leaves office. He said the offenders were serving disproportionately long sentences compared to the sentences they would receive today under current law. He also commuted the sentences of 37 out of 40 federal death row inmates and issued a ways of commutations and pardons, as we know, in December for many, including his son Hunter Biden. It seems it's a very odd system, isn't it? The president just decides.
It's really weird to get your head around.
Yeah.
But there'll be certain things. So some of that is political in that Donald Trump actually had more people put to death off death row. There's probably a proper phrase for that, when he was president the first time. So I think he'll be mindful of those people no longer being on death row. Quite often they're on death row for an awful amount of time with various appeals and that and the other. So those people are, people that might have definitely ended up with a slightly different ending, so to speak.
Yeah.
And then these older sentences, as I understand them, are sort of what they, non-violent drug crimes, where the seriousness of those, or where they were perhaps sort of a little bit harder on certain demographics, that they kind of commute those sentences. But I mean, I think it's sort of weird that you can do that as president when you leave. Yeah.
But I suppose it shows the change in constitution. The United States is very different. I mean, you've got this national figurehead who can decide, right, you don't face the death penalty, even though they've been through the legal process.
Yeah, but then, where's the separation of powers? But anyway, what do I know?
Well, look, I'm really pleased that you're safe and that you're coping okay, and send my best wishes and love to everyone over there, because I know they're really, really struggling with those horrific fires as well. Caroline, always such a pleasure to talk to you. Caroline Feraday, broadcaster, journalist, our USA correspondent. That was today's Transatlantic Talk.